everybody, it's Candace Harper, Love Coach. Welcome to New York City. It is Friday afternoon. It's a gorgeous Friday afternoon, and you know what that means. That means it's time for Terrace Talk. So I want to put it out there right now. I am looking for someone to help me with my opening. I need graphics, I need music, I need something cool. Something besides sirens, which I think the sirens are kind of cool too, because we're in the city. That's not too bad, right? So anyway, I'm glad you're here. Today I want to talk about standards and expectations, and how standards and expectations can keep you single. Now, what I'm going to say is going to sound really counterintuitive, because everything that you read, a lot of things that you read, and even some of the things that I have written and some of the things that I have said will tell you that the way to meet a great match and the way to find your perfect love is by having a list of standards and a list of what you want in your life, and finding someone who matches up with that, and noisy trucks too. However, what I'm going to tell you right now is completely the opposite of that. I have learned some new things, because I'm always constantly learning. I believe that the only way to teach something is to be a student of it. So of course I take all sorts of life education classes and things like that. And so I met a woman in one of my classes where the structure is that I actually am her coach. I'm in the class, but I'm also a coach of a group of people who are in the class. And the interesting thing about this woman, I mean, not only is she beautiful inside and out, she is 74 years old, and she told me that she has been single for 34 years. Which, when she first told me that, I actually was pretty impressed, because I'm imagining, because she seemed so happy, she was so ethereal, and I'm imagining that for her to be so happy and ethereal and to profess that she's been single for 34 years, she must have an amazing relationship with herself, which is so important, because you can't have a great relationship with someone else if you're not in love with yourself, and you definitely can't be alone if you're not in love with yourself. So, you know, it was really great to talk to her. And what I learned, though, that I found so interesting, and also I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of my clients, is that the reason that she's been single for the 34 years is because even though there have been prospects, even though men have chased after her, even though there's no way that she, you know, has gotten all these years and there was no one who was attracted, she has a list of expectations and standards that they could not meet up to. In 34 years, she didn't meet a single man who could meet up to her standards and expectations, which I found really interesting, because just the other day I was talking to one of my clients, and you know, one of the big blocks that we found that she had to finding the love that she wanted, or being able to connect in the way that she wants, is that she had a lack of forgiveness. So there was people in her past relationship history, which I always do the relationship inventory when you work with me, that she just had not forgiven for the things that they had done. You know, whether it was that they had cheated, or one ended up having a wife and he didn't tell the truth about that. And she just was unable to forgive them. And she didn't see how that was kind of standing in her way for being able to find love. Now, how does that tie into the standards and expectations thing? We as humans do not connect well when we're trying to meet up to each other's standards and expectations. If who I'm trying to be is who you want me to be and who you expect me to be, I might successfully be able to do that for a limited amount of time. But sooner or later, I'm gonna have to be myself. So if I meet a guy, I'm a beautiful single girl, and I meet a guy who I think I'm attracted to, and I think he's got all the things that I want and all the things that I need, but I tell him, look, you know, I like you, but we can't be together unless, you know, you want to be in a monogamous relationship, unless you treat me to the way that I, you know, have become accustomed. I have standards for how I want to get treated. I want you to do, you know, this for me and that for me, and you have to take me on dates. Like there's requirements in order to be with me. I mean, you know, any healthy red-blooded man who's attracted to a woman, he's going to meet up with those requirements for as long as he can. Unfortunately, if that's not truly what he wants, at some point he's not going to be able to meet up with those requirements. At some point you will be disappointed. And in any relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or not, if you put standards and expectations on how someone else has to show up for you, you will be disappointed, because people aren't meant to live for us. They're not meant to live for how we expect. And a lot of that comes from the way that we're raised and what we're taught, whether it be in our religion or in our culture. If you're raised with shame, if you're in my generation, it's highly likely you were raised with shame, because that's what our parents knew. They knew right and wrong. Either it's the right thing to do or it's the wrong thing to do, and that's it. And if you do the wrong thing, you get punished. If you do the right thing, you get rewarded, maybe. I don't know what it was like in your house. However, what that message sends is that you are not love, and that you are not worthy of unconditional love. But that's the thing, as a human being, you are worthy of unconditional love. You're absolutely worthy of unconditional love. And you can make a connection with another human being that works, that is loving, that is exactly what you want, when you are open to the possibility of meeting them where they are. Does that mean you need to go out and grab some vagrant on the street who's a criminal, who's doing all kinds of things that you don't agree with? Absolutely not. Does that mean that you settle for less than what you want to have show up in your life? Absolutely not. You don't have to settle for anything. You just have to be in touch with what is important to you and be living into that. Because when you're engaged in your life, you're engaged in your core values, whether that be family or adventure, compassion, volunteerism, whatever things you have in your life that you get fully engaged in, music, you will meet like-minded people. And all you have to do is be open to what's possible. Be open to how they can possibly show up and what they can bring to you. And if something they bring to you does not work, everybody has their line for what is acceptable. If someone hurts me, that doesn't work. So and by hurts me, I mean physically hurts me, or intentionally hurts me. That doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to set that boundary and not have that person in my life. But because someone doesn't have the education level that I expect, or because someone doesn't have the table manners that I would expect them to have, or they haven't traveled as much as I would think they should have traveled, those are the kind of things that will keep you single if you cut somebody off because they don't meet up to those expectations. So, it is a fine line, because you definitely, like I said, you don't want to settle, and you definitely don't want to have something in your life that is unacceptable. It is unacceptable for someone to make you feel bad. It is unacceptable for someone to consistently not show up for you in a way that is neglectful. That's unacceptable, and that's not a relationship. However, if someone is showing up, and they're showing up with things that connect to your core values because you're showing up, because of how much you love yourself, you got a pretty safe bet that you're going to be able to make a match there. So rather than being out there trying to control and manipulate and find and struggle and have someone meet your expectations and have someone match up with your standards, what I'm saying is that just be your authentic self. Get in touch with what's important to you, and share that. Share that from a place of vulnerability. When you're in the dating world and you're going out on these dates, don't be afraid to stand for who you are, share who you are, share what's important to you, and just have no expectation of whether that person can meet up to it or not. Just allow the space to see if they fit. Just allow. So it's a difference between controlling and struggling, or just allowing. So I know you guys might have some disagreements, some questions, some comments. I really hope that I touched on everything so I could get this message across. Because dating is supposed to be fun, and love is fun, and connecting is fun, but it's not fun when you're trying to control it and limit it and have someone live up to your standards. I think that's it for now. Listen, leave a comment below. If you're on YouTube or if you're on the vlog, definitely leave a comment below. Let me know what your experience has been with having standards and expectations and how that has affected your dating life. Tell me how things are going. If you don't want to share too much about your private life, that's fine. You can act like you're talking about a friend, whatever. Also, subscribe to my channel. If you're on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, you can go to YouTube, subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up button, share, and share alike if you know anyone who could use this information. And also, I take questions. Please leave questions in the comments below, because I will answer them in future Terrace Talks. So I guess that's it. Listen, what we speak, we create. So be mindful of your magic. And just remember that I love you. Happy Friday, and take care of yourselves. All right, thanks for being here.